Yes, good morning to you, Susanna. I tell you this garden is inspired by, of all things, champagne. Isn't that wonderful? And of course, the sad thing for you is that we can't convey to you the smell of this fantastic garden, which has to be one of the most beautifully scented here at Chelsea. We'll be meeting the designer in just a moment. He'll be giving us some ideas about how to put a garden like this together on a budget. First, though, I spent the day here yesterday speaking to many of the 500 exhibitors here about just how they've been coping with the recent weather conditions. Well, I promised you a word with the garden designer. Here he is. This is Arnie. Arnie, good morning.
Hi,
to you.
good
What a
morning.
beautiful garden.
Thank you.
How could you create something like this at home on a budget?
I think the best thing to do is to...
I think can just show you the true extent of this showground to you, Alex. Good morning. Obviously, this is a well-tried and tested tradition, isn't it, Chelsea? What's new this year? What can people expect to see that they haven't seen in the past? Yes, this morning, of course, the designers are nervously awaiting the arrival of the judges who will be taking a look around the gardens and awarding their points a little later in the morning. I think, though, I tell you what, it's pretty chilly here. Carol will be giving us more on the weather later, but in the meantime, they serve some 36,000 cups of tea here at Chelsea over the next few days. I'm going to go and find one for myself. Back to you. Good. Yes, good morning to you from high above the Chelsea Flower Show. I'm in what they're describing as the Pyramid Garden. It's some 7 stories high, and it's the creation of celebrity gardener Dermot Gavin. And my goodness, you have to have a head for heights. Let's wander inside and let me show you around what's designed as a kind of urban space for gardeners. There's all sorts going on here. There's lifts, there's a slide to get you back down to the ground floor, there's chill out zones, there's even a fully functioning shower and bath. And of course, the water from that shower goes straight down to another level where it waters the fruit and vegetable garden. We'll be having a word with Dermot Gavin in just a moment. But first, I spent the day here yesterday asking gardeners how they've been coping with the recent weather conditions. Gosh. Well, I promised to introduce you to Dermot Gavin. Here is the man himself. Good morning to you.
Morning.
This is a crazy garden. Tell me a bit more about it. We never have long enough to chat. I'm going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much. We'll have just a tiny bit more of a look around out here. I just want to show you this before we hand you back to the studio. I told you about that helter-skelter kind of slide, and look at this. Here it is, curling all the way around the garden down to the ground. I've got to tell you this. I did ask the cameraman to go in it for us. He said no. What can I tell you? Back to you.
Well, you'll just have to go without him, Jenny. That's all. We'll catch you at the bottom. See you later.
Yes, Bill, good morning to you from this garden. It's called the Celebration of Caravanning Garden. As you can see, the designer, Joe Thompson, is just putting the final touches to the garden before the judges arrive. Now, this garden's all about the staycation. It's all about the family. You can see here, there's a dog kennel in the shape of a miniature caravan. It's all about making sure everyone in the family can feel part of the garden. It's also about functions. This rill in front of me here is not only a beautiful part of the garden, I'm told it's also very good for chilling your wine. And behind me here is Doris. She's a 1950s caravan. We'll be popping in there in just a moment. But first of all, I spent the day here yesterday speaking to many of the gardeners who've struggled recently with the British weather. Well, let me introduce you first of all to Mark, who is a celebrity gardener and who specialises in growing herbs. Mark, good morning to you. To Sue, who is the Director General of the Royal Horticultural Society. Good morning to you, Sue. Obviously a very special year for to be a great day. Thanks ever so much for joining us. And before we hand back to you, I've just got to show you these cocktails because Mark's been mixing those up. And I think, Mark, it's probably time we tucked into those. In the meantime, back to you in the studio. I'll bring you one back if there's any left.
All right, Jenny.